This new moon is powerful, more powerful than a regular new moon. It's so powerful that you may be feeling it in waves of emotions and insights. Allow your emotions to lead. Your feelings are truth right now. Open yourself up to the sunrise. Your relationships reveal the truth that is unavoidable. Pay attention to the frequencies around you. They are telling you stories from the future. Some of these stories you're not going to understand yet. However, over the next few years, as you process and integrate, you will understand their meaning. Okay, so we have a new moon on July 14th at 3:30 a.m. It's at 22 degrees of Cancer, more specifically 21 degrees and 59 minutes. You can see that here in the chart. If you live in the Pacific time zone or maybe one time zone east of that, I think it's mountain time, you're actually seeing the new moon with the sunrise. So what you want to do is look to the eastern horizon when the sun is rising, and the moon will be rising with it. Of course, you're not going to see the moon because it's going to be obstructed by the light of the sun. However, you are going to still enjoy the benefits of looking at this sunrise. Highly recommend this sunrise. It's a beautiful one. And as we're going to see, this new moon is very special, actually. And I'll get into why in just a second. So if you want to do any kind of energy work, or if you want some kind of energy reset, beautiful time. Go for it. Enjoy the sunrise tomorrow morning. So here's a few things to know about this new moon. So this is one of our new moon supermoons in the summertime months. So this year we are experiencing supermoons in the summer. And so this is the second of the two big supermoons, new moons. Now, supermoons are often associated with the full moon, right? But it's the new moon that's super powerful too. A supermoon means that the moon is closer to the earth. So we are feeling it, and it's intense. So we feel that intensity in our emotions and our mind. It's a very active phase of the moon. So I like this for this new moon. The second thing I like about it is that it's out of bounds. This is great energy for all my creatives out there. So people who are artistic, creative, thinking, because the moon is currently at a higher declination than it normally is. So it's higher in the sky than it would normally be. It's not as high as the previous new moon, which was in Gemini, but it's still beyond the path of the sun. So it's breaking the sun's path. When a transit moves out of bounds, essentially what it's doing is that it's tracking an area of the space, of space, not the space, where the sun usually doesn't cross. And that gives it the property of being unhinged and even wild. So we have this intense, wild new moon. New moons initiate energy, so we like this. Now, last month we had a new moon in Gemini, and at that time I told you guys that I thought that was the big new moon. It technically was a bigger supermoon, meaning the moon was closer to the earth at that time, and it was more out of bounds. I think it was 27 degrees that it was out of bounds, so it was more unhinged and more intense. But when I actually looked at this Cancer new moon a little closer, it has way more intense properties, and we're going to talk about that today. So I would think of the last new moon in Gemini as the 2026 activation point, and it's still very important. I think at that time I called it the best new moon of the year. Maybe it is in some way. It's very resonant for 2026. But the Cancer new moon, bestie, I love this new moon. Okay, so this new moon actually tracks across a couple decades. So we were talking about this yesterday with the Mercury Cazimi, but it's a very similar path to that Cazimi with the sun. And there's even more resonance than I even thought of yesterday. So this Cancer new moon is probably best of the decade, if not the next 20 years. It's a critical new moon. It's full of abundance and wonderfulness. Okay, so let's see what's going on underneath this new moon. So first of all, the most important thing is that we have strong feelings and thoughts. So whatever we are going through, we're feeling it intensely. We feel very awake. We feel very activated. This is just building upon the Gemini energy, not only the new moon in Gemini, but also the conjunction of Mars and Uranus that we just had. Okay, so another thing that I would recommend for this new moon is getting in touch with your emotions, more so than talking about things, which is more connected to the Mercury Cazimi we just had. Your emotions and how you feel about things are really telling you the truth about the situation you're in. So this is the time to really feel the circumstances and the situations you've been experiencing. A lot of people are tapping into intergenerational trauma. So very similar to the Cazimi, if you have like a history of violence or some kind of dispossession in your family history, or displacement, war, famine, all the terrible things of the world, the G word, there may be energetic continuity between generations, or even patterns of behavior of internalized harm that you're feeling the consequences of now. So this is a wonderful time to connect with what's going on with that energy and focus on healing, transmuting, transforming, elevating. So this isn't about falling into those cycles again, but rather recognizing those cycles and rising above them. Another important thing to think about, very similar to emotions telling the truth, is that the truth is silent, which means that whatever you're connecting in to and whatever you are feeling is the truth of your situation. There's a time and a place to talk about things, and there's a time and a place to sit with things to understand the true nature of your circumstances, of your predicaments. So this is a time when you feel so strongly. The quieter you are, the more tuned in you are. Maybe you're looking at that sunrise tomorrow morning. A lot of truth has the potential of reaching you. And because the timeline for this is so long and it's so integrated with other transits, especially in 2026, this is a real cathartic, powerful moment of resonance, of self-understanding, of integration, all of those things. So sit within your truth and allow that truth to silently wash over you and tell you exactly what you need to know, what you need to adjust, what you need to embrace. So under this transit, you may be experiencing visions, daydreams, dreams of ideal circumstances. Do not ignore these. These are dreams and powerful resonances of your true nature, especially if you're going through something difficult that denies you your experience. These visions are actually like a mood board or a manifestation board telling you exactly what type of family you're meant to align with, who you're meant to love, and a true version of yourself. So sometimes we have dreams that seem like they're far reaching and we say, oh no, this isn't my reality, da 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 da. But under this new moon, you're supposed to embrace those visions. Embrace the vision of yourself in your highest manifestation. Embrace the perfect vision of family that you're having, the perfect vision of love. Those things are waiting for you, and this new moon is trying to show you this. Again, this is the best at sunrise, so go look at the sunrise. And even if you live in a different time zone, you can still watch the sunrise. The moon is still with the sun, but it's most powerful on the West Coast and the Mountain Standard time zone. Go watch the sunrise, let it wash over you, and get connected with this vision of yourself, this vision of the ideal family, this perfect vision of love that you do deserve. So it is Mercury retrograde, but sharing information with people who you love, you may feel called upon to share from your heart and have that heart-to-heart communication. Don't put that off. This is a much more powerful energy than Mercury retrograde. And even if you stumble over your words or say the awkward thing, the heart of the person you love is going to hear that pure intention. They will understand what you mean. So you may find yourself in a very deep connection with someone under this new moon and leading up to it or several days after. So this new moon, because it's so active, because it's so activated, and because everybody's feeling and thinking so much, and because it's off the beaten track, and because it's so close to the earth, there's powerful moments of truth between people. So there's these activations of connection, and with some people, it's going to be, the truth is going to be like, there's no connection here whatsoever, and you need to honor that. This is a key piece of information that's going to lead you into 2028, 2029, 2030, and beyond. So this is extremely important that you pay attention to. So with certain people and situations, you will feel allergic, uncomfortable, itchy, whatever, nauseous to situations and people that are not aligned to you. So maybe you've been towing the line in a situation. Maybe you've been carrying on despite the fact you already know that this is not a good alignment. Under this new moon, because you're feeling so much, because you're so tapped into the frequency, you're going to feel repulsed, uncomfortable, and really like you want to separate yourself from the wrong people and the wrong situations for you. So whenever we get an intense transit like this, people will require different things underneath it. Not everybody has done the work. Not everybody has the tools and the skills to handle certain frequencies. So under this new moon, you really need to give people space to recalibrate, correct, and improve. And this may be you as well. You may find yourself in circumstances that are way over your skill level, way over your maturity, way over your tools that you have to handle things. In that case, pull yourself away and focus on how to remedy the situation you're in. The reason for this is that whenever we reach points of high intensity, not everyone's going to have the ability to correctly resonate or respond to things. So if it's you, then pull yourself away. And if someone around you is acting funny or, seemingly acting strange, they may be actually struggling with the intensity of this new moon. And so this does not mean that the relationship is gone or the situation is incorrect. They just may need more time to align and improve their connection to the situation. Remember, relationships and situations teach us a lot, and we learn skills to handle them. So this is a learning opportunity for many people. Okay, so let's go over our timeline review, which means that let's look at the transits that were happening in the same position as this new moon that are now being activated by this new moon and the Cazimi. In the Cazimi video, I went into great detail about all these transits. So if I'm going too quickly or something's not clear, I would recommend that you watch that video. So in 2019, we experienced some kind of initiation of events. This is when Mars, Mercury, and the North Node created planetary cycles at this new moon degree. Mars and Mercury began their alignment. Every 2 years they have an alignment. They began their alignment at this degree. And Mars and Mercury bring together actions and words into alignment every 2 years, creating a path forward. So 2019 was, for our intents and purposes, the initiation of this frequency, of this energy we are experiencing now. Look back to 2019 to see what happened in your life that is relevant here. In 2026, we have a cluster of energies of planetary cycles and other astrological events that are happening at this degree. So at the beginning of the year, on January 3rd, we had a full moon in Cancer, but it was Jupiter that was at the degree of the new moon at that time. Then we have the Cazimi, which actually came before the new moon. This activated communication and brought truth to situations. And now we're having the new moon here, which is an activation point. That's really, really important. And we'll see why in just a minute. But for our intents and purposes, 2026 is about deepening and grounding our experiences that began in 2019. Also in 2026, on June 9th, we had a conjunction between Jupiter and Venus at 25 degrees of Cancer, just 3 degrees from where the new moon is. This begins a 1-year planetary cycle concerned with love and relationships. So I explained a lot more in the Kazemi video. You can check it out there, but this is an important transit that is with us over the next year and is bringing us to greater understanding and depth of learning about love and relationships and our part in them. So 2028 is our big clearing year with regard to this degree specifically. As you know, I've been very excited about 2028. I think there's a lot of planetary patterns that are coalescing in that year. So 2026 is a lead up to 2028. It's starting to look like that. I'm still studying it. But in 2028, in terms of the degree of the new moon, we have planetary cycles between Venus and the South Node and Mars and the South Node. This signals to me that there's a clearing event in 2028 of relationships and situations that are no longer necessary in your life. So you will be moving past circumstances and people and hardships that you're currently experiencing. And then in 2030, we experience a 2-year planetary cycle between Venus and Mars at this degree. To me, this symbolizes some kind of a climax, some kind of pinnacle of experience that you've been growing into since 2019. So a lot of the things that are happening right now will really make sense for you in 2030 and 2032. Now, if you're waiting for love, if you're waiting for a relationship, this does not mean that you have to wait until then to find those types of things. But it's at that time when a lot will become integrated. You will understand what a lot of these things mean. And then you'll be looking back in 2030 and saying, these were the important things on those years that are relevant now. So take care of yourself in 2026 through 2028 and beyond. And then you'll be very happy in 2030 that you took care of all these people and situations and relationships. So this is a new moon. This is not an eclipse. But there is a fundamental connection between this new moon and actually the Kazemi that we just had and eclipses. There is going to be 11 eclipses at this degree between 1963 and 2085. This has a large part to do with a convergence of cycles, so it's not one cycle that is causing this. Sometimes there's a cluster that's created because of overlapping patterns and overlapping cycles. So that's what the astronomy is telling us of why this is. But for the purpose of astrology, this is telling us that there's a high concentration of turning points and transformations, specifically at this degree. And the breakdown is that we will have 3 new moon solar eclipses. So just like a new moon, but magnified as an eclipse, initiating energy, beginning new things. And there will be 8, or have already been some, but we will have in total 8 full moon lunar eclipses, which are the pinnacles of experiences, also turning points. For those of you who are new to astrology, it's common that we have repeat patterns of moons, new moons, lunations, and eclipses, but this is a high concentration, and we're right at the center of this sequence of 11 over this 120-year time span. So there's a couple of these eclipses that are coming up that I want to share with you that are relevant for our timeline. So the first eclipse that we're going to have is in 2028, which is a lunar eclipse. It's a full moon eclipse. It's on January 12th, 2028, and it's at 21 degrees of Cancer. So this, combined with the planetary cycle of Venus and the South Node and Mars in the South Node in 2028, adds to the property of clearing out in 2028 of excess in our lives, excess of relationships and excess of the things that are not contributing to our well-being anymore. And in 2029, we are going to have a new moon eclipse at 19 degrees of Cancer, which will initiate a path forward. And this eclipse is deeply connected to the Venus-Mars planetary cycle in 2030. So we clear out in 2028 with the lunar eclipse at this degree, and then we have a solar eclipse very close to this position. It's not exact, but it's close enough, and because it's such a cluster of energy here, it's reasonable to count it. We have a solar eclipse, a new moon eclipse, alongside the south node that is going to initiate a new pattern of experiences that then Mars and Venus are going to work out between 2030 and 2032. And again, another pivot in our timeline, another transformation. So what you're dealing with in 2026 is going to fundamentally change in 2028 when your timeline shifts to a new direction. And then new things will begin in 2029 that are going to build upon your experiences now. So let's revise our timeline. In 2019, we had initiation. 2026, we are experiencing a deepening with multiple astrological events happening at this degree. Also in 2026, we have the Venus-Jupiter planetary cycle. However, this lasts until 2027. In 2028, we have the clearing, which is the south node aspect to Venus and Mars at this degree. But we also have our first eclipse, which is a full moon in January, which only magnifies the clearing event. So expect a turning point in 2028 and then subsequent clearing out of energy with Venus and Mars until 2029. In 2029, we get a new initiation on a new path under a new moon eclipse. This eclipse will happen in July. And from this new moon eclipse, we are going to refine the energy under the Venus-Mars planetary cycle that's going to last 2 years between 2030 and 2032. And that actually carries us over even further to 2037 when we get another new moon eclipse here, another initiation point, another turn, but we can talk about that in future videos. So as you can see, this energy that you're feeling under this new moon today has a lot of history behind it since 1963, really. But for what's happening now, for our purposes, we're looking at 2019 through 2032. And so you're at the center of this in 2026, in the beginning stages of a Venus-Jupiter planetary cycle, which is all about relationships, all about love. And so everything you're learning, everything you're feeling, everything you're experiencing is growing to some massive climax in 2030 through 2032. And you should expect this to be a good thing. Don't worry about this energy working against you. This is your life path. This is going to be your lived experiences. These are the relationships you're going to have. This is your path forward. Okay, so let's see with the tarot and maybe Lenormand what's going on with this new moon, what we need to know. Our core energy is the Knight of Wands, the Sag, the Leo, Aries energy, also air sign energy in this card. So Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. So this energy is of people who come and go. They come in with strong energy and then they leave. And this reminds us of the fluidity of relationships. Not everyone is meant to stay in your life, and not everyone who leaves is necessarily does so because of some negativity. Not everybody is meant to be here with you for a long time. So I'm just speaking to a larger meta pattern with regard to the new moon and the energy that I see. But this card could be literally an experience of someone who has come into your life or who has gone very quickly. And so underneath this new moon, you may be dealing with the feelings surrounding this and processing that relationship. For some of you, you may have found new feelings about the situation. So having gone through the situation, you may have recognized new feelings within yourself, new points of awareness that this situation has brought up. For some of you, this may have involved reckless behavior or dangerous behavior, maybe substance abuse even, which can make a person feel very disempowered when they're around someone who's erratic and inconsistent because of their own struggles with addictions. Just as I was saying that, an eagle who lives by my house, as you guys know, flew over in front of my window. So it was a good omen, and especially for anybody who's American out there. Of course, my channel is watched by mostly Americans, and so this makes me feel connected to you guys living in Canada. So when I see the eagle flying over, I'm like, oh, that's my American friends. So I thought that was nice. And since your country is going through a lot right now, maybe that's a sign of hope. So I'll take it as that. The Knight of Wands can represent also the eagle, because the eagle flies. It doesn't stay in one spot, right? You have to enjoy it while it's there. There's also a message here of needing to invest for the future. So the consistency comes from investing in the future and trusting yourself through making sure that you're putting your material security in a specific direction consistently. So whatever may happen in your life, the comings and goings of people and situations, that you have continuity that you can rely on. So this is a bit of a call to action to take care of yourself by maintaining that material continuity. Okay, so I've been neglecting my Psychic Tarot double deck situation, so let's see what it has to say. I think it's been not cared for, not used, and not utilized enough. So we have the Wheel of Fortune. So this is Jupiter activated. Jupiter is in a highly intense position with the outer planets right now. Something good is coming out of that cradle aspect to the other outer planets. If you're new to astrology, let me just show you. So there's Jupiter in opposition to Pluto, and the outer planets are in a minor grand trine sextile. So Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. And so Jupiter is in a cradle formation with the outer planets right now, and it's stabilizing. Jupiter is a mid-distance planet. It lays between the outer planets, Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune, and the Sun. So it connects the outer planets, which is the larger social connections in the world, the generational planets that govern us as a collective, and our individual experiences. So it grounds whatever is happening in the world around us and translates it down to more individual experiences. So Jupiter, in aspect to these planets, is working with them to help you situate yourself in this massive shift that we've been experiencing, which is the outer planets switching signs from earth and water to fire and air energies. So Pluto entered Aquarius, Neptune entered Aries, and Uranus entered Gemini. So Jupiter in Leo is activating that shift for you and making it, like, helping you to adjust to the world adjusting around us. So it's really nice to see. It's nice to see this card come up because it's saying that amid all this change and transformation, you're finding your path underneath this new moon. Then we have the Two of Wands. You may have to wait out a situation. So when this energy comes and goes in this way that the Knight of Wands does, sometimes if you sit still, it'll just come back around again. This reminds me of like children on the playing field. So when moms or dads take kids to the park and the kids play, the child kind of circles out into the area where it plays and then comes back to the mother, right? So there's this kind of return of the same energy again here. So this is what this reminds me of, that there's this coming and going of situations in your life right now underneath this new moon, in which energies, maybe people, but more to do with patterns of energies and experiences, keep coming and going. and returning. And this is a very loving energy. It's not an energy of hate or something negative. This is telling you to be patient and allow things to come and fold back. Accept when they go and accept when they come back, just like the mother does on the playground with her child, right? And then we have the Two of Cups. That's Venus in Cancer. Venus was in Cancer maybe 2 months ago, so this could be pointing back to circumstances 2 months ago. So there's a very sincere connection here between people. So this is all saying sincerity, good luck, moving forward in positive directions. That's why I really like the Psychic Tarot. It has very beautiful kind of resonances in it. It's one of the, I genuinely sense the loving nature of this deck. And like I've said, I'm not a huge fan of the art or anything. It's fine. It's, tarot art, whatever. But I'm not a fan. But the resonance of the cards themselves are very good, very, very tuned in. So we have 8 of Pentacles, and sorry to the artist, it's very nice design. I'm not trying to throw shade or anything. So we have 8 of Pentacles, positive movement forward, Sun in Virgo. So we're heading to Virgo season in about a month from now. So this is touching upon the energy of investing our resources and the things that we need to put into to create stability in our lives. Something very stable is coming your way. There's work ahead that is consistent and good and of a good quality. This looks like a very clear path ahead to something specific. And I think that that path has already opened up for you. It's underway. And then you have the 3 of Swords. So this may have to do with the cyclical nature of relationships and situations, how they pull away and come back in, like the tides. Sorry to be so poetic. And then we have the 3rd eye chakra. So maybe the next time there's a pulling energy, which means going away or distance, there's some kind of activation that you are going to experience about awareness, about something to do with your nature, something to do with your experiences, an insight about how things come and go in your life. I'm enjoying this deck. So we have the Moon in Taurus, 6 of Pentacles. There's a lot of earned success here. There's a strong foundation already. Everybody's success is relative, so what's financially or materially successful for one person is another person's poverty. So don't compare yourself to others. Be happy that you've achieved this level of success and material prosperity. Then we have the Moon, which is the shadow. There's still hidden feelings that people are working through, and this brings me back to the astrology message, which was some people really need that extra time to recalibrate and adjust and align and learn these new skills of tolerating the comings and goings of frequency. Everybody's chart is different, right? So we all experience transitions, change, flux in different ways. And for some people, it's not a matter of skill or ability. It's just that change hits their chart in a more difficult way. So it's true that some people have a chart that works better in certain types of circumstances, like adjustment, like change. So some people have a much harder set of circumstances each time change happens. And then we have the new beginning. I like this card. So this is the Fool, and this is Uranus. And so something new is definitely beginning for you here, something to be excited about. It comes on the heels of a broken heart or loss of something, but you also get this fresh start. Okay, so let's look at my other favorite deck, Morgan Greer. I love this deck so much. You guys don't even know. And I painted it for you guys so I can use it on YouTube. We have 7 Pentacles. So again, investment in the long term, your energetic investment, material harvest of the things that you've accumulated so far. And the 4 of Swords, this situation requires rest, and this probably has to do with any stress you're experiencing with regard to certain situations, adjusting. And then we have the High Priestess, so definitely alertness, awareness. I'm surprised she hasn't shown up already earlier in this reading. So this is a deep card connected with this new moon. You can even see this card from the Morgan Greer Tarot shows the connection of the High Priestess to the moon. You can see her feet on the crescent moon. So this is very connected to the third eye chakra. It's a point of awareness. I love the Morgan Greer because of its rich colors, and you can see in her eyes this kind of depth, right? It's a Piscean, water, Cancerian, Scorpio depth in her eyes of the water signs. And then we have the Page of Wands, beginning a new journey. This could be a Sag, Leo, or an Aries, or a Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, but this is typically signaling that there's a new journey, a new path ahead. If something has recently kind of not worked out for you, a situation, a relationship, whatever, and you're feeling that frustration from it, this is a very important card. It's saying rest, and I think you should really take that suggestion and rest. I know some of you have mentioned this in the comments because something is happening for you very quickly after. Something fresh is starting very quickly after that end, and it's going to require your alertness and your awareness. I'll tell you guys a little insight. I'm going a little slower with this new moon today because I think it's super important, and it's a video that I'm going to come back to, so we're going to go slowly with this. But last night I filmed this in the afternoon, and I was unhappy with it, mostly because I felt I was repeating the things from Mercury Cazimi too much. So we were going over the same things. I'm always worried that someone's going to watch it and, having not watched Mercury Cazimi, be lost, so I over-explain sometimes. Anyway, I was unhappy with that reading, and so I reviewed it, and I was like, no, I'm not going to post it. So I'm actually filming first thing in the morning. I have some construction coming for a reno in an hour or two. But so I got here very early to do this reading for you guys. And after like a night of rest and a shot of coffee, I don't drink a lot of coffee, so I had about 50 milliliters of coffee and some other hydration. I just feel like this reading is great. So this is reminding me of the new beginning that is ahead of you. And I'm going to be watching the sunrise tomorrow. So sometimes when you hit a dead end, and I feel like I hit a dead end last night, not because of any drama or terrible thing, just because I've been posting a lot, right? Covering a lot of the energy. And I just felt tapped out. I felt tired and I felt run down. And so because I think this new moon is super important, I came back to it and I feel really good. And I hope you feel the good energy of this reading as well. So this transformation of from a low, an energetic exhaustion, you need rest. You need rest, proper nourishment. A little bit of coffee doesn't hurt, but that helps you to move past any kind of weariness that you may be experiencing, and you can come back to the things that you're doing with a fresh mind, right? So rest is super, super important here. And especially under this new moon. The moon's been a super moon for like, I want to say 4 or 5 days. So it's been super intense. So super moons and micro moons don't just happen when we have a full moon and new moon, right? We typically associate them with the full moon. They happen based on the moon's position. So right now, when the moon is in Gemini and Cancer, it's a super moon every month, increasing the intensity. So get your rest in. And because it's a new moon and it's a super moon, is this out of bounds high declination, it's very intense on our nervous system. And if you're doing readings or spiritual messages, astrology, things like that, that can really tucker you out. So take care of yourself. Even if you're not doing readings and just talking to a lot of people, interacting with a lot of energy, if you have a customer service job, take care of yourself so that you can start fresh again. Sorry for my interjection. I hope it helps someone out there. Okay, so let's see what else we get. We have the Devil. So we have, now this can be Capricorn energy, or this can be a blockage. Somebody could be putting a blockage in your way with your path forward. That could be an echo of past stresses that you've experienced and past lived experiences that are sort of coming back to haunt you. I think that this is a moment for you to kind of stand off with the devil and not let it have its way in your life. You're still getting this new beginning. So when you recognize the devil energy, when you recognize that something's stopping your path, make a conscious choice to avoid it, walk around it, walk through it if you have to, but recognize it from your lived experiences as a pattern that you have to get by, okay? And under this new moon and the planetary cycle of Venus and Jupiter from the same degree that we are under, it's really necessary that you do that, and you'll do that anyway, because that's how astrology works. Astrology works whether you know it or not. But with this knowledge, you can use that and actively choose to go in this way, in this new way, okay? And everybody's going to be different. Everybody's going to have a different blockage. Some blockages come from ourselves. Some people, that's a Freudian slip. Some come from our environment, right? Okay. So deal with the blockage, name it, see it, avoid it, go around it, resolve it, whatever it is. And then you have the Last Judgment, which is my favorite card in tarot. It's ruled by Pluto. It's a huge decision that's being made, a final decision. We see the Seven of Swords. So this is really about circumnavigating, going around a problem person, a problem situation. Okay, so let's look at the Lenormand. Let's use my rush. Oh, wait, I haven't used the Dreaming Way Lenormand in a while. Okay, so I turned off the sound as I was laying out the cards. You didn't miss much, but we're starting again. I didn't actually change the cards that I pulled, so we have the same energy. I did see the first two and they're good, so we're just going to go over them again. This is a little bit of a pick a card in the middle of the reading, so you can choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a personalized message. Okay, so for the first card, we have the Fish. So this is concerning work and success, progress in your life, forward movement, opportunities. And then we have the Stars. So this represents good luck and fortune, being on the right path, being in alignment with the right direction. And then we have the Scythe, which is unsurprising because we've already seen that there's something in the way. There's something that puts an end to certain things. There's a transformation, that coming and going energy is here. And then we have the Heart, and this is transformed into some kind of love. Now, this is interesting because the download that I'm getting about this is that maybe somebody was putting in too much work into work and not enough time and energy into their personal relationships. And so that energy became saturated. The success-oriented side of your life became saturated, and you had to let go, or a situation came along that forced you to let go and forced you to open up your heart. And then we have Choices, which is the Paths card. There's some deliberation and decisions that you're going to have to make, presumably about love and relationships, which perfectly aligns with the theme of the astrology right now, which is your primary concern under this new moon is family, relationships, love, friendship, internal patterns of relationships. That should be primary. So if you have decisions about relationships and love, it's not about choosing love necessarily. It's about choosing the right path in terms of relationship and social dynamics. So you have this thing presented to you here, this energy in which you are being called upon to review relationships in your life, so you choose the right way for you. Okay, so one card flipped out and we have the Queen of Pentacles. This could be a Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn energy. So this is a person who's waiting for something to come to them. They, rather than initiate, they typically wait and choose between the things that the world offers. And then we have the Two of Pentacles. She's sorting through different options. And I'm referring to her because it's a queen, but it can be a man as well. They're sorting through different options that are in front of them, one of my main lessons of 2026 is the call to action for patience. I've seen this time and again in readings and my personal experiences that the world sometimes is pushing you quickly to change, and sometimes it's about waiting for the right time and the right moment to choose your next direction, your next action, things like that. So I see her as sort of sorting through different options. And the Two of Pentacles is telling me that you're meant to wait until you feel good about a direction. And sometimes you will feel that you should have already chosen or you should have already taken a certain path. But this is sort of saying that like you're meant to exert patience in your situation. Then we have the King of Swords, a Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. And then we have the King of Wands, a Sag, Leo, or Aries. There's a lot of people who are involved in this situation. The situation is under a lot of change, perpetual change right now. There's someone who isn't going to change a lot right now, and I think that's the King of Swords. And again, this can be a woman as well. This person is either unable to experience a lot of change because of circumstances, or they're in a certain type of situation that is going to continue to be consistent. And the people around them have to support that energy. They have to support the fact that his life is not going to change. So it's almost like, like a senior person who can't change their life very much moving forward, like a much older person. Their whole family has to support the fact that they are going to be consistent. And so while everybody in the family is experiencing change, this person is going to stay put in one position. And because of this, everybody in the family has to accommodate that one person's needs, that those needs of consistency, right? So that's what I'm getting from this. So patience is necessary, not only for yourself, but also the other people that are around you. Then we have the Hermit, which is the card of Virgo as well. I thought I saw Sun in Virgo. Maybe I didn't. Oh, yes, there it was. So the Virgo energy is strong. You could expect an outcome in this situation, maybe when the Sun reaches Virgo. And then we have Judgment again. So a big decision is coming up, maybe when the Sun is in Virgo. An outside circumstance might be causing the world to change, but there's this factor of consistency for one person or one individual. So let's clarify. I don't leave readings on like heavy cliffhanger things. So the Last Judgment, let's take a look at what it represents, and let's clarify with my beautiful new tarot deck from Etsy. So we have the Eight of Pentacles. So Sun in Virgo again. So this is saying either affecting a Virgo, or when the Sun enters Virgo, there's a big decision that's being made. And then there's the Empress. This is concerning possibly the mother. We already mentioned under the Kazimi that the energy is that of mother. Call your mom from yesterday's reading. This could be also concerning you if you are a mother. There's a big situation that is being decided around women, motherhood, maybe when the Sun enters Virgo. And then we have the Five of Swords. A situation that is underway is not working out. It's not working out for one or more people. And so that's why adjustments are being made. And then we have Justice, which is the card of Libra. Okay. So a fair decision is going to be made about the situation. I think it has a lot to do with accommodation, right? Accommodation of needs and what people require. Not everybody is going to be happy about that decision, so we get the Nine of Swords. Or maybe a lot of people are worried about it. I do get the sense that the reason I love the Judgment card is that it clears the plate. So if people are stressed out about a decision that's about to be made, that tension leading up to the decision being made can be very heavy and very hard to deal with. So the Nine of Swords could be saying, like, leading up to that decision, maybe when the Sun is in Virgo, a lot of people are stressed and uncomfortable by what's happening. Remember, there's choices to be made, right? So there's a lot of tension. And when that judgment comes, there will be a decision. And 9 of Wands, people are retreating to protect themselves, to figure out what they need and what the situation requires. Somebody's very worried about a situation, presumably about the King of Swords. And then we have the Chariot. There is an overcoming. That's what I was looking for because that's what I intuitively felt. Once the decision is made, it will be fine. So this seems like there's a big decision ahead of a family or a group of people or within a relationship. There's a withdrawal right now, possibly due to stress. But once that decision is made, it's going to be very emancipatory. And people are stressed only because they care and because they love. Let's see the next message. And we have the Sun. And I'm happy to finish this reading on the Sun card because I knew that, the Judgment and the 9 of Swords, whatever we saw, was only temporary. So this is really a new moon about overcoming, growing, and realizing. So the Sun, as the last card, assures us that the decisions that will be made in relationships will be healthful and healthy and good. So I hope you enjoyed this reading. Make sure to comment. Comments, I think, are super important right now. So if you've enjoyed the reading, let me know how you like the vertical reading as opposed to the horizontal one, maybe. Anyway, I went slow today on purpose, and I hope you enjoyed it. We will have shorter videos moving forward, but I just thought it was important to cover this energy well. This is a complicated situation, and I hope I gave you some food for thought through it. And hang in there. This is an important new moon. And in some ways, it's a very intense, emotionally full moon. But in some ways, it's the best one. So enjoy it. I think a reset with the sunrise is great. Even if you're on the East Coast, you can do it. Have that reset tomorrow morning on July 14th. Embrace the sun. I'm going to do it. I know exactly where I'm going to do it, to see the sunrise. And just let the change flow over you. Allow the changes to happen. Support the people who can't embrace change in your life for whatever circumstances they're experiencing. And support the people who are stressed out in your life because they have to make decisions and make changes that they're hesitant of doing. So once you do, everybody's going to feel better and there's going to be a nice sunny outcome. Okay, thank you for watching. Take care. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.